So you want to become a Pokemon vendor in 2026? Well, I actually think that's a great idea. And there's a lot of videos circulating out there that tell you how to become a Pokemon vendor. Uh, and this is gonna be the same thing, but not like the basic stuff like price your cards out the night before, have a display case. Like no shit. All right, there's gonna be some real tips that have helped me grow as a vendor over the last few months. And for Poke Streets cred check, I started vending. I guess in April I did my first trade day, and then in May I actually did my first show. Since then, we're now in August. I've done 10 shows, 6 trade days. Some people count those as shows. I don't really personally, but if you do, a total of 16 shows in the last about 12 to 13 weeks. So I mean, I've been going like super super hard, doing as many shows as possible, any show I can find, really. And I mean, I've grown my starting inventory 500, and it started and bought about, let's say, 1,500, 2,000 in inventory, to now I'm sitting about 14 to 15,000 in sellable inventory. Or I say that, probably 10 sellable and about 5 tied up in grading. But anyways, go ahead and get into the tips. And I'd say the best one for last is probably the best one I've gotten, and it's like real advice that I got, from experience vending from a bigger vendor that I happen to see next to me. So tip number one: your network is your net worth. And this is cliche, it's out of all the like self-help and financial guru books, but it's extremely true. And then the way that it plays into vending is you're going to be able to grow as a vendor, and like you need to be communicating with people. If you see someone next to you and they're kind of like doing better than you, or they're where you want to be, then you need to go speak to that person. Like absolutely. Other ways that it has helped me personally and could help you cut down table costs. I've gotten table fees cut in half for shows, just by one linking up with like 2 or 3 other vendors. So we book multiple tables at once, and we get the price at half off per table, things like that. And then also like getting advice from bigger vendors. Not everyone is like super friendly, especially these bigger vendors you'll see, but a lot of them are. And so if you kind of just pick their brain at the right time, of course you don't want to be like bothering someone in the middle of a deal, and you got to know when to cut it off too. Like if you're sitting there picking their brain and somebody comes up to their table looking around, like, all right, it's back to business, and we can resume the conversation later. Just keep a like mental note of where you were at, because you're getting the information from them, so they're not necessarily gonna just be like privy to start spewing out again. You got to kind of restart the conversation a little bit. And then another big thing of your network being your net worth, there will be times where, say, an opportunity will arise. And here's an example. The examples are the best way I know to explain things. I was at a show. I've got 3 other like local to me vendors there. 2 of them are right next to me. I had a decent amount of like modern sealed that I had picked up. I think maybe the same show or the show right before. And I had a goal that specific weekend of picking up gradable One Piece cards, or just growing my One Piece singles inventory. And I know this is a Pokemon vending show or video, but it's really vending in general. I am more like 50-50 Pokemon and One Piece at this point. So this guy comes up to me with, I mean, just immaculate binder of One Piece cards, a lot of cards that I'm specifically looking for that weekend. And I didn't have, since I had spent so much, the show before, I had some cash, but not enough to get everything that I wanted from this guy. We had already come to agreement on percentage, and then it's just a matter of I'm going through the binder, picking out everything that I want, and I come to like a total. All right, I'm gonna be a little bit short, I think, and it turns out I actually would have had the cash, But because I knew people around me, I was able to be like, hey, will you buy this sealed from me? Just give me what I paid for it, what I'm in for it, and was able to dump, a few $100s worth of, more modern sealed, like some Destin Rivals and stuff like that, and get the cash, buy those cards, and not miss that opportunity. Now I have some of those cards off grading. We'll see how that goes. I'll maybe make a video on that and my grading batches and my journey into that. But tip number 2, know your cost basis. And the reason for that, like, for one, people are going to come up and they'll make offers and they may seem ridiculous. But if you are going based off your cost basis, really, if there's a way you can actually track it, like I built a asset manager, I can pull up any card. If someone makes an offer on a card, I can type it in and it'll show me my cost basis, so I can then make the decision if it makes sense for me to let that go or hold it and hope that someone else comes up looking for the same card at full, willing to pay full market, 90%, 95, whatever it is. But that's probably going to be the biggest thing. And then also being able to trade into other inventory. Like, people will bring trades to you. You may go look around and find things that you want, specific cards that you want at your table because you know they do well based on previous shows, or just your local area, or maybe it's just a card you like more than what you have now. But if you have a $60 card and you pulled it out of a $5 pack, one $5 pack from Walmart or somewhere, then you're only $5 into that card. So taking it at 80% trade, and then also back to like the network is your net worth. If you know vendors, a lot of vendors, once you get to actually like know them and you've done deals with them, they'll do market to market trades, or they'll at least give you like a 90% on the trade. But a lot of the times, in my experience, the vendors that I know pretty well, they just do market to market trades, which is really nice whenever your cost basis into whatever you're trying to offload and get into something else is low. You know it, they don't know it. You know the market value what they have, they know the market value of what you have, and then you can come to agreement there. So that is kind of like the biggest thing. And then also there will be times, and this is I guess maybe like a bonus tip, like have an amount of cash on hand you want to keep. Like, say mine is 1,000. I'm bad about not keeping that because opportunities rise and I jump on them. But say you're like me, not perfect. Sometimes I get a little overzealous. I buy a little bit too much. If you know your cost basis, then you can go to other vendors, or other vendors may come to you, or a whatnot streamer, or just a person, and they may offer you a percentage. And a lot of people say to have a percentage in your head. Okay, cool. Yes, do that. But more importantly, know your cost basis. Because if your cost basis on this lot of cards that they're offering you 75% is 60%, well, I mean, you're making 15% on that lot. So it's definitely good to know that, and then being able to give people deals too. So that way they come back to you. You want repeat customers, and you'll notice if you do a lot of shows like local to you, there's going to be a lot of the same people. And if you network with them and you know them, they will come back. They will always come back. I've had people come find me, like they didn't know if I was going to be at the show that I'm at, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you are here," and then they come check out what I have, or they come bring me cards to sell because they know that I buy cards, or they know that I buy certain cards. They know that I buy One Piece. They know that I buy high-end Pokemon. They know that I buy slabs. Whatever it is, that's really where you want to be at. All right, tip number 3, and this kind of plays on into number 2 as well, and these all kind of play on each other. So it'll all make sense if you put it all together. Maybe not the way I ramble, but I was born a rambling man. What can I say? So number 3, seal the deal. If someone comes up to you looking at a card, they're considering it, they're maybe making you an offer, or they're coming to sell you cards, and it's cards that you really want, and you offer them the 70%, and they're like, I think I'll pass. Like they start to hesitate. Here's a really simple question that I like to ask without this being like a sales course, but and maybe I'll do one of those later on when I feel like I have the credentials to do that. But very simple question: what would it take for us to make this deal happen right now? Before they like, oh, like I'm good, because you got to think about the average person. They're not you. They're not a vendor. They're not everyone is as used to like back and forth. Maybe they find that confrontational, and it kind of is, I guess, in a sense. So like, be a little bit more like welcoming. Like, all right, what? All right, 70% doesn't work for you, and don't really use percentages, but ask the question. And but in your head, as far as percentage wise, all right, 70. Like, you offer maybe 73, 74, 75. And if it's something like really good cards that are liquid, like just make the deal happen. If it's a good deal, a good opportunity, like seal the deal, make it happen, whether it's buying or selling. If someone's offering you, they're like, you have $100 card, you're $20 into this card, and they come up offering $70, it's pretty low. All right, just try and like, of course, like, man, I could probably do like 90. And then you want that back and forth to where you end up in an agreement. Say you settle at $80, meet each other kind of in the middle at $85. You're only $20 into this card. Yes, you're not profit maxing, but you're making profit on that card. You're getting a sale. You're moving inventory, and that is like actually very important. Here's another bonus tip: churning inventory is one of the key things. Like, you don't want, just think about when you go to a store, a card shop, a dealership, you don't want to see the same things. Like, oh, if you go and you see it and like, oh, this car's been sitting here for 6 months, like, oh, nobody wants it, obviously. Like, why should I spend $20,000 on this car if nobody else has been willing to spend $20,000 on this car? Same thing, but card or sealed product, whatever it be, whatever you're selling, like churning your inventory. And yeah, I won't get too deep into it, but inventory churn is one of the biggest things. Like having different inventory, because again, you'll have these repeat customers if you're staying in the same area, and like they'll see if you're there weekly, like I am, and you can expect to see me in the Dallas-Fort Worth area every weekend, if not multiple times throughout the week. Also, I was doing Wednesday night trade nights in Dallas, which is 2.5 hours from me for a while there. Like, that's how hard I was going into it. But you want to always have like different cards. They want to see the same thing, because if they came and saw and they didn't buy anything that there was there last week, what's going to be any different this next week? If the difference needs to be your inventory, really. All right, and then tip number 4 also kind of plays on what I was just, that little bonus tip, but have a goal in mind for your inventory. Do you want to have like some older out of print sealed, like Sword and Shield Lost Origins, or do you want to have like modern Sended Heroes, Destined Rivals, things like that? Do you want to have sealed, modern sealed, vintage sealed? Do you want to have modern singles, vintage singles, mid-era, slabs? Like, I know, like me, I used to not get it. I didn't get it at all. Like, I thought slabs were stupid. Like, I was like, this is dumb. Like, I don't understand the money people spend on them, other than like the aspect of like grading and turning like a $5-10 card into, well, not that, let's say like a $300 card into an $1,800 card. That made sense to me. But then the more I was around and like looking at slabs and seeing, how it like is carried, things like that. Like, I mean, I started to pick up more slabs, and I don't have anything crazy right now. Like, I've got this Ditto Old Maid and a CGC 10. This is an Umbreon V in an 8. I actually need to crack this because it's worth more raw. Funny enough, there's a little inside game. This Lucario movie promo, I thought this was sick, and a Mega Venusaur EX in a 10. And this is only like $100 slab. None of these are worth more than $100. Hardly worth more than 50. But my goal personally is at some point, once I figured out like, okay, what is my goal? And my goal was to be able to fit everything in a case. And I am, this is dumb, but I'm super proud of it. You know, I started with my entire singles inventory, slabs, whatever I had for the longest, fit until like a week and a half ago, fit into this small gun case. And last weekend, I believe, last week, we'll call it a week, I upgraded to, you know, the bigger 3-row slab case. It's nothing crazy, $40 on Amazon, but like it was a proud moment. I am proud of this. Red's my favorite color. It's just something that I've had a goal of. I just didn't have a need for it yet. And then I realized like, oh, my little gun case is completely full. And also, I've been collecting stickers for like 10 years, so I have thousands of stickers that have never found a home because I just haven't been able to find anything that I thought was worth putting them on, so maybe I'll slap something on there. Super exciting, like personal goal and achievement for me, and you need to have those. Sorry, hold on. So, and then another tip on the inventory, having a goal for your inventory, use different product like that you don't necessarily want to get the product that you do want. Like me personally, I use modern sealed as like trade bait. A lot of people will trade cards for modern sealed. They probably, a lot of them, maybe they most likely pulled these cards, so they're not in the card for a lot. It's worth 200, and they can trade it into more sealed to rip. Because I mean, that's part of the hobby. It's my favorite part of the hobby personally, is just ripping product. It's what the whole thing is kind of centered around. So have a goal in mind for your inventory and know what you want your inventory to be. And so for the last and the best tip, plays on that, on tip number 4 of have a goal for your inventory a lot. And this is actual advice I got from someone at a show. This is a show before my first like big show, 2-day show. And this is from Dylan. Shout out to Dylan. I meant to get his contact. I feel like that was a big fumble on my part. But if Dylan, if you happen to see this, you know, definitely contact me, because he gave me some of the best advice. And it was, have the inventory that you want people to bring to you. And here's the situation and the example where this, to kind of like explain this. You know, we're sitting at the show, and I've got a decent amount of people keep bringing me modern sealed. They're bringing me modern cards, like cool, which is cool, but it's not what I want my inventory to be. My goal is to be able to fit everything into this case so that I can travel. I just have a car. Looking at getting a van though, at least for more, not for storage, but more for like travel and staying in. But I digress. So I've got a lot of modern cards, a lot of cards I pulled, a lot of stuff I've like bought and traded. And because I have modern, people keep bringing me modern. They're bringing me sealed. All kinds of sealed was coming to me that night. And I'm buying it because it makes sense. I know it's going to move and it makes sense. But it's not necessarily what I want my inventory to be. I want to deal in slabs. Like once I started to kind of get it and see it more, I got hooked. Like I'm hooked now. That's all I want to do. I just don't have slabs like that. I don't have the capital necessarily to buy big ones. I could probably buy like one big one, and maybe I should, maybe I will. I haven't had one come to me in a while since, you know, establishing this goal, but they used to come. My first show, I don't know how many big like $1,100, $1,300 one-piece slabs came to me, And at that time, it just didn't make sense for me to buy those, even though I probably could have got a good deal. Now, I'm waiting. I'm just sitting there like, all right, somebody bring me a manga, or bring me a Charizard in a tin, bring me a high end $1,000 plus slab, 500 plus slab, something, so I can put it in my showcase and people will know, all right, he likes this thing. I'm gonna bring him this thing. So here's the situation. I'm sitting there. Of course, the night's going on, making deals here, left and right. All right, cool. This guy comes up with a binder. It's like his childhood binder or whatever. I mean, full of just all like vintage reverse hollows, e-readers, all the cool stuff, like shining dark Charizard, if that's right, dark Charizard, something along those lines. Like thousands of dollars worth of singles here, all vintage, all in great condition. And these are cards, if you know much about vintage, a lot of those older cards, like you don't have to get a 10 and it still amplifies the value of it. And this guy has a lot of slabs in his case that are very high end. So I hear him make an offer to the guy, $500. It goes on for a little bit. I'm wheeling and dealing, moving, grooving, sliding, vibing. And then I like check in later. I see that he's like going through the binder, putting these cards in top loaders, and I was like, I'm picking his brain, getting in his business a little bit, but with the intent of learning. I'm really just looking to learn here. That's mostly what I do, and I need to kind of get back to it. I've gotten a little content, and I feel like I've figured it out, but you can never learn enough. But he tells me the number they landed on and got the deal done. I mean, deal of a lifetime. Thousands of dollars raw, as is of value for pennies in comparison, really. If you took the time to grade some of these cards and stuff, I mean, just crazy. And I'm like what? So I'm like, okay, why did he come to you and not me? Because like at that time, like I finally had worked my way up to have the capital to have been able to buy something like that. But the guy didn't come to me. He came to Dylan, right next to me. And he's like, well, look at your case. He's like, look at your case, look at my case. I've got a lot of, and he's not bragging about it. He's just giving me advice here. He's like, I've got vintage cards in my case, like some, high-end vintage singles that you don't see very often. They're rare. Some high-end slabs. It's like, so the guy saw that and brought it to me. He's like, you have to keep the inventory that you want people to bring to you. Because one of the biggest parts of vending is sourcing and buying. Like, how else would you get the inventory? You have to be able to source. But vending is probably the number one way to do it, because people are walking around looking for cash. They want to sell their stuff because cash has a lot more value than cards to a lot of people. If they're just a customer, $1,000 may be worth a lot more than just having a Charizard or some cool card that they don't necessarily care for that much. So, and that's really like when it clicked, like, okay, that makes sense. So then that's when I started to get lower end, but some slabs, and I've started to slowly get more slabs. I've sent cards off to grade, of course, waiting for those to come back. And because I want to have like less quantity, more quality, and quality being like value. I want higher value, less cards. I don't want to have 15 binders laying out all over my case. Case is like so packed full you can't even see what half the card is. I just don't want that. I like when I go up to a case and it's like very presentable. It's not full, but there's really cool stuff in there, and that's stuff like I'm like, oh god, I can't afford that. But people will buy it. People pay crazy prices for these things. I don't fully get it. I'm starting to. Because there's some really cool ones, and if like I had the money to get some of them, I would. Some of them are definitely out of my price range. But that's what I want to be. That's what I want to have. as like a collection, and then also it's for sale too. So if I can get into a $1,500 slab for $1,000, $1,100, $1,200, awesome. And it might take a little bit, maybe 1-2 shows, but eventually that's, you know, $500 to $300 to $500 profit on a single card, a single product in my inventory. Which right now my inventory is more nickel and diamond. I might make 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, 25, $30 on a card, 40, $50 on one card. And I don't want to make that. Me personally, that's just my goal. I'm happy with it right now. I love it. I love making 5, 6. I love nickel and diamond, like $5 1,000 times is $5,000. Sorry, I can't do math. But I want to maybe sell one big card at a show, and I just profited a few thousand. That's just me personally. That's like kind of my personal goal. Anyways, I'm rambling. That's the advice. So yeah, that final goal, like have the inventory you want people to bring to you. A big part of vending is buying from people. And they're going to bring you what you have in your case. If you got a lot of modern sealed product, they're probably going to bring you sealed product. If you got modern singles, they're going to bring you modern singles. If you have vintage, they're going to go look for the guy with vintage, because they're going to be kind of like hesitant to sell to other people, because they're going to like, maybe that guy doesn't know, or he's not going to give me a good deal. He's going to, yeah, they're going to bring it to like the subject matter expert is what they're going to bring. So pick something you want to be kind of like the subject matter expert in. And maybe you want your inventory to be a little bit of everything. Okay, then like do that. That's awesome. That's cool too. You are your own individual. You're looking to start your own little business, selling cards. It's awesome. And like, should you become a Pokemon card vendor or a trading card vendor in 2026? Absolutely. I think right now is probably the best time to do it. Everything's kind of down. Pokemon's down. One Piece is down. Just depending on what you're looking at, all the like more modern stuff definitely in Pokemon is down. So it's a great time to buy. You might not make as much as you think you will starting out, but if you can have the capital to just start, $500, $500, you can start. Get a table, buy some stuff that matches your goal for your inventory. And it might take a little bit, a couple months. Just don't over leverage yourself. And in a few months' time, once you have the experience, because then you'll have the experience, you have the inventory because you hunkered down and got in it now when everything's lower, and then you pile that on with experience. Like, you're stacking wins here. You're becoming competent in this space, and that's a big thing you need to do. But yeah, anyways, that's me, Collector Dad. Again, if you're in the DFW area, or if you're in Texas at all, in 3 months I've gone from $500 to over $20,000 in sale. I have another video explaining that. But on top of that, they're doing 10 shows, 16 if you count all the trade days. I've gone from my first show in May to actually co-hosting my own show here locally in Wichita Falls, the 940 Collectors Expo. So if you are from Texas, North Texas, DFW, and you're a vendor, you're looking to vend for the first time, we've got tables available. Check out 940 Collectors Expo on Instagram, Facebook, 940collectorsexpo.com to book your table. Send me a message personally if you want to have any questions about it or want to get a discount. If you're coming from out of town, it's your first time vending, it's going to be great. Would not have imagined I'd be where I'm at in this short of time. I had a goal of vending in 6 months. It's only been like 3. I wasn't even supposed to start vending for another 3 months. Just think about that. But all right, I'll let y'all get back to it. This is Collector Dad, and I'll see y'all in the next one.